Why, hello there! How are you today? Awesome Soul here, and welcome back to some more Robocraft. In today's video, which will hopefully be a little shorter than the last one, I'm going to go over the community feedback that the devs have posted over on their website. So basically, they have gotten a general feel from the community and written out what that is in their news article here. And like I normally do, I will be highlighting this for you and giving my own opinions on the matter. So, starting off with the first point, and that is removing crates completely from the game. If for whatever reason you missed my last two videos, yes, this is actually happening, and it seems like it's pretty fairly universally liked, as they've written here. So it seems like that is their current primary focus, and they're going to be focusing on removing them as soon as possible. Point number two, robot rewards at the end of battle based on performance. This one was also universally liked, and they are going to go forward with that plan. When it comes to their daily quests, though, it was generally seen as a good thing, though there were a few concerns with what might the quests be exactly. Personally, I do think this game, like, well, really any game, honestly, it does need something to make players come back to it, and this is definitely that thing. And it's also a lot more interesting than actually just getting free stuff when you log in, because, you know, you'd log in, and then you wouldn't really do anything that day. Or I guess you didn't have to do anything that day. But with the quests, if it's interesting enough, it won't really feel like a chore, but more of like a cool, fun side project you can do. You're like, oh, I don't actually have a bot type that could do this quest, so let me quickly make something and then complete the quest. You know, something like that. That's how I kind of see it, anyway. On the topic of tiers coming back, it did seem like the community was pretty much in favor for it, though there were a couple of questions as to why there weren't 5 tiers or 10 tiers, because as you know, they are only doing 3 tiers. At least that's their current plan anyway. And the reason they give for this is pretty much what I expected. They don't really have the current player count to have more than 3 tiers, and for long-time players, you will know the reason why tiers were removed is because they were dividing the player base up into smaller and smaller chunks, and therefore making the queue times that much longer. So they want to please the community by having tiers back, because it's a feature that most people seem to like, while also trying to keep the queue time low, and also not affecting things like parties, custom games, brawl, etc., etc., at least as they state here. Though they do elaborate by saying their plan is to start with 3 tiers, and possibly grow more if the community grows more as well. Now, my thoughts on tiers can be found in the previous 2 videos. I do cover them fairly extensively, so I won't really cover it here. With that being said, number 6 is Battle Arena, Elimination, and TDM in a rolling roster. What they mean by this is when you queue up, you won't necessarily know what you're going to get into, so it's kind of a mystery bag. This way, there's going to be a good player amount in each game mode. And not to worry, you will actually be able to opt out of things if you wish. So if you only want to do Battle Arena, you can choose to opt out of Elimination and TDM. But yeah, personally, I think this is nothing but a positive, especially since, like I just said, you can choose ultimately in the end which game mode you want. But if you don't really care too much, you're going to be helping out the players that do like those specific game modes by filtering yourself into a possibly naturally lower player count game type. And from what it seems like, this one as well was pretty much universally liked. The next topic they go over was removing the purchasable crates from the game. Like, you know, the item crates. They say that most of the community seemed fine with this, and instead they're going to monetize the game via premium time like it is currently, but also adding a new thing called Cosmetic Credits, which I did cover quite extensively in the past 2 videos. Again, check them out, make sure you're caught up on those. Though one cool thing that they add here is that they say there might possibly be a way for you to grind up Cosmetic Credits, obviously with a long grind, but there will actually be a way for you to get them without having to pay, which will be pretty cool. Though I would assume you would only get 1 or 2 at a very, very slow rate. But they do talk about that more in a little bit. Next up is the first one that's kind of a little bumpy, and that is premium at 25%. Basically, the rewards you get. Instead of a 100% boost, you would only get a 25% boost. At least that was their plan anyway. So they say here, the idea of reducing the premium benefit for new new users of Premium from 100% to 25%, with those who already owned Premium at 100%. So basically, if you had already bought Premium, you would continue to get the 100%, whereas new users would only get 25%. And to me personally, that is not good at all. I don't really know what they were thinking with that, honestly. But, yeah. And it seemed like most people weren't too comfortable with this either. This one's a fairly extensive read, so TLDR version, it's going to be kept at 100% for now, as it's not too important with the goal of removing crates, but it's not a closed book, as they say, and they will revisit this at a later date. They also add, "We are determined to get to a point where the community feels we are monetizing Robocraft in a fair way." The next big thing was removing the boost feature, and this was met with some controversy, as they say. They continue, some felt it was good to remove them, while others felt that their removal would hurt build diversity and break some fun builds, which I definitely fall into the latter category. Since originally writing their post, they have actually thought about it a lot more, and that was definitely evident on Twitter. They did go over that topic quite a bit, especially Mark. So once more, since it's not particularly critical to the mission of removing crates, they're going to park the idea and come back to it in a little bit. Though there is one other thing I do need to talk on the topic, but that's in a different article, and I'll quickly go over to the important parts in that after I finish up with skills. By far, the most controversial thing on that original post. A lot of people pointed out that there were a lot of conceptual issues with it, ranging from seal clubbing to it not really feeling all that much like Robocraft, as you can't exactly tell what a robot's power is just by looking at it. And that's kind of been one of their design philosophies. You want to look at a robot and get a general feel for what it's supposed to be delivering combat-wise. And as they say in this article, they do realize that pretty much all of it is valid criticism, and since skills are, again, as they keep saying over, not critical to the removal of crates, we will park the idea for the time being. However, read below for a new idea. This ties into what I was saying before. Cosmetic cache for vets. Our main reason for wanting to consider a skill tree, they write, was to ensure that players who had been playing for a while and had unlocked everything in the tech tree had potential rewards to get. We wondered if there was a simple solution to this, and if you've unlocked everything in the tech tree, you will start by getting 1 cosmetic credit instead of 1 tech point at the end of each match. Another thing they consider is actually having cosmetic credits forgeable by robots. The example they give in the article, though, is 1,000,000 robots for 1 cosmetic currency. Doesn't really seem all that great, especially if you're getting 1 cosmetic currency after each game. Doesn't seem that good of a deal, though this could just be because it's an example and they'll balance it out later. Also, we don't know how cosmetic items are going to be priced. Are they going to be pretty cheap? Like 3 cosmetic coins for a flag? Or is it going to be more like 100 cosmetic coins for a flag? I'm kind of thinking it's more of the latter, but I could be wrong. And one really awesome thing that I've wanted for quite a while is something actually highlighted in this article, because they've got a lot of feedback from this, and they say many suggested that we need to invest more time in better cosmetic offerings, and we agree. So we've been discussing ways to do this. Fantastic. Hopefully we get a lot of really small little pieces, like maybe exposed wiring or some gears that spin, like tiny little things. This would also offer lower cost options for cosmetic credits as well, because one of my biggest complaints when it comes to the cosmetics is that all of them are way too big and difficult to use. If we have things that maybe are 2 by 1 blocks wide, or maybe just 1 block wide, and 1 block tall, etc., things like that. Maybe even smaller, technically, but still its hitbox would be the size of 1 block. You kind of know what I mean? Anyway, that's about it for all of this. And there also is a frequently asked questions section, which is pretty cool as well. It goes into a lot more detail. If you do have some questions, maybe they are answered over there, so go and check that out. Now, there also is another article that's going into the boost system, but the big thing we get out of this article is how they're going to fit the boost system into the new tier setup that they have. Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So, there was actually a community suggestion by Gendar. I believe this was over on Twitter, and Mark seems to like this one. So it seems like this is what we are going to be getting. In Tier 1, with a max of 1000 CPU, you can have your speed boost enabled, but it will be capped at 100%. So you can't go any higher than 100%. But you will be unable to use any of the other boosts. They will be disabled in the game. So it's kind of cool. It's sort of slowly introducing players to the boost system as they kind of, I guess, unlock the boost system as they go along, sort of. There's also other things that you unlock per tier, or I guess unlock access to, like you can't bring legendary weapons, for example, in any other tier except for Tier 3. I did go over this in the other videos, so once more, please check those out if you haven't done so. Anyways, continuing along with this article, they say Tier 2 with a max of 1500 CPU will give you access to speed boost and the health boost. And then in Tier 3, you can go up to 2000 CPU and you can have speed boost, health boost, and finally damage boost. Now, the reasoning for this is as follows. They state, so by doing this, we can focus on crate removal and bring back the tech tree. And then when that's done, if all goes well, we can begin work on a solid way to remove the boost system and focus on a solid goal of more engineering and physics simulation as opposed to, quote, funny mechanics like boosts, which I'm slightly concerned about because, well, it seems like drones will reign supreme if physics come back to the forefront. So I wish the team at FreeJam all the best because balancing Robocraft is a definite nightmare. It's no easy task, and yeah, like I said, best of luck, you'll need it. Anyway, that will wrap up today's video. So what do you think about all of this? Is this shaping up to be a good update, or are you iffy about one thing or many things, or nothing at all? Type that out down below, and with that, guys, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.